Hello. It is what are we watching? I know what two of the episodes are. There's tomorrow's yesterday, where they kidnap an Air Force pilot. Then court martial. I have no idea what. Well, I mean, I know it's a court martial. I got that part.
Well, in
But, like,
Court Martial, isn't there the one where Kurt is accused of killing the man, even though, we find out what happens.
could you be more specific? Because I feel like Kurt kills a lot of people.
I think it's where he's accused of activating something too early when there's a man in the room, so it would kill him.
And then Return of the
Who's
Archons,
correct?
which is just the what was it like? It feels like 2004. The Purge, 2008. When was that? It's just the Purge. We get to meet Landrew. He's cool. Everybody loves Landrew. And Landrew, of course, is brought back in Lower Decks, and it was hilarious.
Yes.
He's very persuasive.
Yeah, we see in that Lower Decks episode that Starfleet doesn't really do second contacts, all that they do, but much, much, much later.
Yep. They just... I mean, they need... What am I even trying to say? People need to learn not to re-worship the dang computer on their own, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But it's just so helpful.
Landrew is very persuasive. Yes, but unfortunately, it's a murder computer, as a lot of the computers are in Lower Decks, actually. Do we have a single non-evil computer in Lower Decks? We have like 4 evil ones. 4 or 5. We have Badgie, we have Landrew, we have Jeffrey Combs, we have Peanut Hamper.
Yeah.
They're all evil. Every single one. Rutherford's part computer, I guess. AKA Pillboy.
And then we get to learn why they don't let, computers control the ship on their own.
Yeah, because starships can't have daddy issues. It's a bad plan. So, Soma, have you been playing Oblivion?
No.
Why not?
I'll play
So
Baldur's Gate
good.
3 when I get paid.
Alright.
And then I'll play Starfield at some point, but Starfield's more expensive.
Anyone else been playing Oblivion? I assume come on.
I have been wanting to, but I've had a kind of a crazy week, so it hasn't
Okay.
happened.
Okay.
How was playing it last time? How are you playing? How is it getting on for you?
Oblivion?
Straight Starfield. Yes.
Oh, Starfield. Starfield? There are definitely issues, for sure. Feels like the procedural
Bethesda
generation,
game?
not in concept, but in the execution is a little lazy.
That's
Overall,
too
I'm still really enjoying it, though. Good game.
bad. That's good.
It's just the main problem is that you see repeated locations too often. Like Oblivion, for example, all their dungeons are procedurally generated, which isn't great, but they're all different.
Yeah.
Starfield's problem is they procedurally generated like 30 locations before, and then you just get exact duplicates of each of those locations.
Oh.
And
It's
it's,
like-
A bit like Mass Effect, where they
like the worst.
literally just combined everything together, all of the assets they had, and put them in various different locations.
let me rephrase. I think each of those 30 locations is actually made by hand. The problem is that they procedurally place them as exact duplicates all over the map.
Oof.
Oh. That's not fun.
You only notice when you're really far in, though. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, good game though. I enjoy it. 8 out of 10.
Have you made a sandwich pile? Apparently that's the thing people do in the game.
No.
Make a sandwich pile.
But also, you should press play on TOS in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. I was playing Oblivion though yesterday, where I win with an Argonian and I'm making a bone pile. Every single bone I run across in the game, I'm required to pick it up and I just dump it in my house.
Hmm. Oh yeah, interesting. We start with the modern day.
So this is
Not a blip.
1967, 1968?
Yes, something like that.
Of some sort. They're already talking like Star Trek.
Yeah.
It's begun. Could it be some kind of starship?
Some sort of Star Trek.
I mean, I forgot how the Enterprise got here in the first place, but Earth would have moved from whatever position they were before.
Don't worry about that.
What do they mean a real UFO? I mean, they're all real.
It's really
After you
unidentified.
identify them, it turns out. Yeah.
Yeah. They stop being UFOs when you identify them.
I like how when they did the remaster, they copied the movements of it on a wire, so it still looks really jank.
Yeah. That is the correct amount of remastering. Yes.
Yes.
It should
It's
still
Oblivion
look janky.
style jank.
Yes. It should be faithful to the original jankiness.
They could have it doing loop-de-loops, it could spiral, it could turn around, it
It's
could
also
do
really
turn
short
at
order,
all.
rather than just lurch around in the sky. As if it was hung from a string.
Suspicious. Oh, this episode we also get an example of sabotage and how William Shatner says sabotage.
Ooh.
Does
Must be a
not know how to
Canadian
pronounce
thing.
that word. I don't think it's a Canadian thing. I think it's a Will Shatner thing.
It is a Will
Probably.
Shatner thing.
It feels like one of those things where someone corrected him once and he's like, no, that's how it's supposed to be. I don't know what you're talking about. I always said it like that.
That
I
does sound
think
like
he's
Shatner.
joked about that in the past.
A black star. That's right. The words black hole were only barely established when Star Trek's being written.
But this is where we see the Enterprise literally in Earth's atmosphere. Even badly damaged, it is able to maintain orbit in atmosphere. Or maintain altitude, rather.
But they're on impulse power, right? So they should just be able to leave, surely.
Yeah.
So Lieutenant is 1 band around the wrist. Captain is 3.
It looks like Captain is 2 large ones and a thin one.
And
Yeah.
is Spock a commander? Because he has 2.
Lieutenant Commander. I don't think that Kirk should be 3 full bands because he was be a captain of a higher rank because he's on the Enterprise. You'd have thought that the most senior captain, or most senior ranked captain, not necessarily by age, would be on the Enterprise. It's the flagship.
No, you see, Captain Kirk officially is still only an ensign because he was only given a field promotion during an incident with the Romulans. And they just let him keep the ship. It's all good. Okay, yeah, so they can't
There
just
we are.
leave. It's all fine. Is it Romulan? Could it be Romulan? Oh, it's not Romulan. I'm just remembering some episode where they went back in time and like Earth wasn't spacefaring anymore. Like, I'm picking up some transmission from Alpha Centauri, but it's Romulan. Some alternate future.
There must be Depends which one it is. If it's Apollo 11, then that would be 1969, wouldn't it?
What? Isn't it? What?
Though, well, actually, the Apollo landings hadn't occurred at the time of this release.
That's true.
Some type of craft. Oh, it's this music.
So it must be one of the earlier missions where they're just flying around the moon. Or obviously, this wasn't even made by the time that it was done, so they probably just made up a mission.
Oh, the wires. You can see them. I don't think... Oh, was that a full CG jet? Because that didn't
The
look like their
remake,
historical
possibly.
footage they use. It's a good thing the USS Enterprise is written on the top. That way they can
Yeah.
hide it from these
True.
primitives.
Prime directive.
I wonder if that's why it's written on the top, so they can hang out on planets and nobody can see. No, there's no way that jet is carrying nuclear warhead, Spock. Come on.
Yeah, the jet model which is used doesn't have any rocket armament on
Yeah,
its
okay.
wings.
Does he necessarily know that? Like, how detailed is his knowledge?
Well,
of
it's Spock, so he
20th
knows
century?
either literally everything that's possible to know or nothing. I mean, given he knows something, it must be the first choice.
Fair enough.
I mean, try. Is it really that hard?
Just gonna say, yeah.
I thought that was something they do like every day. What's the...
Why is he
Are
standing?
we gonna stun him so he doesn't see anything anymore? No? Have a chat? Okay. It's fine too.
Shouldn't he been warned about board sitting down?
Don't worry
It's
about
the
that.
balance of terror lighting on the eyes again.
Ah, canon. It's English. Unless you're
Yes.
watching in like Spanish, then he speaks Spanish.
Does it actually redub it in the original?
I don't know, I made it up. I would assume so. But also it'd be weird to have this American military pilot speaking freaking German or something.
Yeah.
Maybe they changed the flags on his shoulder.
Oh, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is canonized because they have the universal translator, which we do see in Discovery is literally a audio coming from the translator itself.
Only in like one episode of Discovery.
I know, but that's how we're meant to assume that it works. The shipwright it could work differently, I suppose.
Just gonna let the debris fall? Alright.
Yeah, I really hope there wasn't a nuclear warhead. Good thing there wasn't, but yeah.
Maybe they're over the ocean.
Well, no
Maybe
jet
it's
of that
fine.
time has the ability to carry a warhead within it. They carry a bomb within them, but not that jet design.
No, don't play that music cue. God, Gene. It's just an officer. Leave her alone.
Yeah.
Don't need to play the seductive music.
Don't know why I never thought of Bob Burgers before when you said Gene. Gene.
Gene. Getting Gene
Oh,
Burnham.
We had the Federation mentioned in a previous episode, and now we're back to United Earth.
Kirk, what happened to the temporal prime directive? You can't tell people this.
It doesn't exist in TOS.
All right. So the reason the video is blurred and muted is because I can't show it on YouTube.
Hey, we know
So-
someone else did that.
Yes. So
Hey,
what you
it's been
do
a while.
is you queue up your copy of the episode and you match it to the timestamp that's written there, and you go. Oh, once on the final stream, the last one before the channel is basically just done, I should have it unblurred and plain audio so CBS shuts me down and it's like, no, see, I can't continue making videos. Look, my channel's gone. I can't do anything. Don't let him press the buttons. Where's security? Why
That
are we
is
not?
actually a very interesting and realistic usage of deflectors, because deflectors could deflect EM signals and make it so they don't bounce off the ship.
Yeah, you can't. I wonder why he knows too much about a Spock. Ooh, stocks.
Spock knows about stocks.
Yeah, man, see, he knows literally everything. But also, I just think it's an
Nothing.
interesting notion that, I mean, what's he gonna do? Invest in the duranium industry?
I mean, he could get access to the Enterprise computers and get information about
Transparent
new
aluminum?
events.
What if we just didn't tell him anything and didn't give him access to the computers? Kirk?
Yeah, they could have just like beamed him on board, beamed him back, and then
I mean, that's literally what
he would just have
Pike
assumed that
does.
he hallucinated. Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally what Pike does in Strange New Worlds, or he tries to anyway.
Wait. What? Okay.
That is
I
weird.
mean, what I was gonna
What?
mention is it looks like
What
Kirk
are
has
you
a
making
dagger
Rachel
on his
do?
desk.
Gene, why are you making Major do this?
I don't know, I think Major Barrett would be into it.
I suppose, but yeah.
It's Major Barrett. She's kind of...
I mean, yeah, we've all seen Lawrence Arda. Oh, is this the first time we get? This is the first time we get an actual.
Oh, the first time it's
Personality
voiced? Because I was thinking, like, what do you mean? The computer's always been female. It's just being weird now. But no, I don't think it spoke before. Ah, of course.
I
This is
wonder
why
if-
Kirk has the knife on his desk. He has a dagger, so he can get rid of Colonel Ritchie. Or Captain, whoever he is. Who's Colonel Ritchie? He's a Star Trek character, right?
I don't know. But yeah, if it wasn't for Kirk saying it's a female,
Aha.
it was a
You got a
female
point.
voice, then I would have gone. Wouldn't have been so thought of. Taking such notice of it, but yeah.
Oh,
So-
this.
I looked it up. Colonel Ritchie is the guy from the Royale in TNG.
Hmm.
Different officer. Kirk seems His facial expression makes him look too happy about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
He doesn't pity
A little
this man at all.
smirky.
He's going full Janeway here.
Yeah.
Oh, they hadn't thought of that. Okay. We go wipe out the Romulans before they become a big threat. What? Is the computer giving a recommendation or requesting a recommendation?
It doesn't like that.
Did we not put security on Captain Christopher? Well, hang on, Kirk, because in this era, people have to, like, go to the wall and press the button. Maybe he's in the bathroom.
Or he's asleep or anything like that. Yeah, just automatically assume. I mean, he's right, but he's automatically assumed.
No, not the back of the back.
This is a bad plan, Captain. Because he can transport you anywhere. He could transport you to the brig. What do you...
Oh, yeah.
Leave you in the buffer for a while security gets here? Well, getting back for you isn't really a big problem, because you can just, like, go at a high, close to sea, and you're gonna be fine.
I don't think
Just fly
the
fast enough,
Impulse
you'll
can
get to the
definitely do
future.
that in TOS.
Have to find someplace out of the way, though, because, like, you can't just do it around the sun, because everyone else is just gonna see you hanging out, circling the sun for 400 years.
Well, at some point in those 400 years, Enterprise would be detected.
I wonder if there's a standing policy about that. If you see someone moving at a high fraction of the speed of light, policy is just leave them alone. They're doing their thing.
It's interesting that the captain has one band on his sleeve, even though he is also a captain.
He's not a United Earth captain.
No, he is a Starfleet captain. Because they have definitely used that regularly at this point.
I was going to say. Yeah, of course.
Spock, why do you keep volunteering all this information? These people are terrible about time travelers.
No, the
Yeah,
reason
no
why
kidding.
Spock is saying this is to ensure that Christopher returns.
Well, now the past has been altered, so not necessarily. Like if you get delayed by 1 second, it could turn out different.
Yeah.
Sun dogs? What are sun dogs?
I have no idea.
Sun dogs are colored spots of light that develop due to the refraction of light through ice crystals. So it's lens flare. They're lens flares. But in the sky. Ooh, in that close-up of the side of his head, you can just see the seam of his ear.
Yeah.
Looks like some of the glue leaked out. Ooh, are we doing a treason? I feel like Captain here might be about to do a treason. Ooh, some nice historical footage. You can tell because it got extra grainy.
Yep.
Lovely.
Sulu.
But why? Why Sulu? He's the ship's helmsman and/or botanist. Why is he here?
Yeah.
I mean, we can't take Spock. We could just take a red shirt. One of the security guards. Maybe Sulu has particular knowledge about film.
Maybe.
It's striking me how slow this show is compared to new shows.
Yeah.
Like, Discovery would never have... It's been like 5 minutes without dialogue. This would never happen in something new. Unless it was a movie. TV show? No.
Well, that's the problem which was made on Strange New Worlds by Lower Decks, which is
Yeah, and slowly.
Yeah, slowly they talk.
There was the scene in The Wire that was nothing but f bombs for 4 minutes. It was pretty entertaining.
He is working on them, Doctor. In his head. He's very smart.
I am, yes.
Bones is great.
Well, hands up. Come on. Do what the nice man says. That's barely up. Come on. Literally did not even know Kirk had a belt. Does this guard... I don't know the extent of radio technology in the 60s. Does he have like a handheld radio? Because I'm just thinking he should have probably called for someone else.
Well, I know that in the 1940s, handheld radios didn't exist. They were very large military radios.
Guys, are we concerned about the gun? Just gonna watch?
The transporter neutralizes all weapons as you beam through.
Does that work on ballistic weapons? I
One would
guess.
assume.
Did they
Also, I
just...
don't know if it was at this time, but yeah.
Maybe they leave the bullets in the buffer.
Or the gunpowder.
These are just out of hand. Now there are two of them.
Like the Strange New Worlds
Ah.
crossover, rather 5 they beam up.
Because they're Leonard Nimoydians. I get it. I see what you did. Okay, so they didn't have personal radios at this time. Allegedly.
He's totally shot. Paralyzed.
I'd say there are, in fact, 3 responses: fight, flight, or freeze. This man has made his choice.
Yes.
There are a couple more.
Fight, flight, freeze.
Die.
And what are the
Friend. Flop.
friend? Like a possum?
I don't remember.
Very sneaky. See, I don't think even TNG had sections this quiet for so long. Even by the 90s, the show was a lot faster.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, if you did want Enterprise E, it might still be in stock on Master Replicas.
They tripped some kind of alarm.
Mm.
No, why almost? All right. What was the... Well, no, I guess he's protecting Sulu, so fair enough. I was gonna say, like, why don't you just back up and leave?
Because that would have brought them through into that room.
Yeah. Because Sulu has the tapes, so all that matters is that he beams up.
I do believe it might have been mentioned in TOS at some point. I don't know if it has at this point, or don't think it has at this point. Is that the captain, or really any crew member, is required to give their life if necessary to protect the timeline.
Oh, look at... Oh, that was some great Shatner combat. Yeah, I remember some line
Did the double fist
about
thing,
that.
right?
No, he... Did you not watch him jump up and grab the doorway so someone jumps underneath him?
Oh yeah,
10 out of 10.
yeah. Classic. I think he also did the double fist thing, didn't he?
I was watching for it. I guess I could have missed it.
I think it was like the first thing. I don't remember.
Kirk, that's so suspicious.
Spot, you're not going to just use his name.
He has a name, right? At this point? Or is he like O'Brien?
But did
I
he
don't
not have a name
remember.
at first?
Yeah, O'Brien was just Khan for like 2 seasons.
Hmm.
Well, he was Khan for like season 1 and then just Transporter Chief for season 2. Then he got a name. I think the first time he got a name is that episode where he's really racist toward Cardassians.
Yeah.
Now, at some point during this interrogation, Mr. Military Bluesman is going to talk about sabotage, so just keep an eye out for Kirk's, or an ear out for Kirk's response about his sabotage.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love
Some
this.
kind of a game.
I love this school of interrogation. Just tell them everything because you know they're not going to believe you.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
How
like
many
Gross
times has
Point
that
Blank.
happened? Like, I remember Rios doing it.
I mean, I don't know how many times it's happened on Star Trek, but it happens.
Yep.
You know,
Good trope.
I always think it's a Gross Point Blank trope where it just says professional killer every time someone asks what he does.
What is it?
It's a transmitter of deadly energy.
But isn't that also the same prop they use for, like, when he's recording a personal log or a captain's log on a planet? When he's not on the ship? I think he used that in the Gorn episode. Maybe not. God, how many times are they going to say of some kind in this episode?
Interesting. Is this an episode where they go back to the mid
To
20th
current
century?
year.
To the year of production of the show?
Oh, he said the sabotage. He said it.
Approximately. Sabotage.
Uh,
I'm not supposed to be here right now. Who's this guy? I feel like they wanted John Wayne.
George is actually closer there with that. 200 years.
Wouldn't it be more like 300 years?
yeah.
Well, they normally talk about like 400 years at this point in TOS.
Well, I mean, last time, what was the last episode? They said it was like 600 or 700 years.
Yeah, in fact, it was 700 years, wasn't it?
So-
900 years. I don't know.
TOS is the 2260s, I believe.
Correct, yes.
And this is 1960 something. So yeah, 300.
300 years,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was 1968 when they were producing this, so if it's 2268, I mean, it's exactly 300 years. But the other episode we saw with Trelane, they said he was seeing it like 900 years in the past, which would have made it like the 26th century, right?
Yeah.
No,
Or
it was
27th century. something
Trelane
like
was
that.
emulating things from like the Napoleonic era.
Yeah, but Spock said he was seeing Earth 900 years in the past.
Yes,
So
because he was
Napoleonic
900
era
light years
plus-
away.
Right, but what I'm saying is Napoleonic era plus 900 years to current era would have made it like 26th century.
Okay.
Get what I'm saying? So that episode would make us think, because up until this point they haven't actually given us a concrete year of when this is taking place. They still really haven't, and it's probably not even really
Well, they were
decided.
deliberately not. They just want it to be
Yeah,
sometime in the future.
in the future. Yeah, but that's a mistake.
He happens to have chicken soup on one of those like 4 or 5 cartridges.
So that's got to be a replicator. That can't just be like a.
It's a food synthesizer.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but
It's a food synthesizer.
the other option was like, it's a elevator from the kitchen.
It's a really, well, in the diagrams of the TOS Enterprise, there is a huge kitchen and all these food stores and all these like exactly that elevators, like dumbwaiters.
There is an
that bring it up.
episode
But
where there's specifically a plot where they only have the kitchen.
I think that these are basically, they're not full-fledged replicators. They're just basically 3D printers for food. You know what I'm saying? They're closer to 3D printers for food than they are to replicators. Let me put it that way.
So what you're saying is they downloaded a soup?
You wouldn't download a soup,
Download a
would
soup,
you? Yes, I
yeah.
would. It's delicious. I would download a pizza. I would download a car. Who joined us?
Hey guys,
E-Review. How you doing?
I'm doing groovy over here.
Groovy?
Yeah, we're in 1967 at a U.S. Air Force base.
You
Well, this
know-
wasn't a very groovy act by Mr. Christopher.
You know, Bo-
Can I just say that given that Gene Roddenberry is running the show here, why they didn't end up at like a swingers club or something, I don't know. Why an Air Force
mean,
base? And he was in the Navy, not the Air Force, right? This is Air Force base?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
He was a
'cause he,
Navy pilot, right?
I mean, he did have a studio to answer to.
Everybody is really
well-
quiet for me.
Naturally, The Air Force would be the one to intercept the Enterprise, not the Navy or the Army. We didn't have a Space Force back then. Also, funny enough, actually, the Air
Space
Force,
Force.
the Air Force
Oh,
itself
God.
was a wing of the U.S. Army.
Yeah,
And
it used to
then
be the
later,
Army Air Corps in World War II, and only after World War II did they spin it off as its own branch of the military.
yeah, we've only been flying since 1901. So, here's the thing, right? They let him tour the Enterprise, and then they're like, "Yeah, we can't let you go back."
You know,
They didn't just
we
let him tour the
they
Enterprise. They explained everything to him.
yeah
And then they're like, "Yeah, so you know too much. If you had just kept him in the transporter room, you could have sent him back."
yeah no no.
Was this the backdoor pilot for Gary 7?
Yeah.
Neat.
And then later there was another episode, Mission Impossible, Mission Starship.
There was an episode where they go back in time. Is this the one where they start out and they're like, "We've traveled to the mid 20th century to do some anthropological research," and it's like
Yeah.
you just casually time travel to research.
Right.
That's always fun. That's not this episode. This episode, they got pulled into a black star,
No way.
and that shot them backward, and it's a whole thing. Don't worry about it.
Black Star, you say, huh?
Yeah, the phrase black hole was only emerging in the scientific literature at this point. Like it might have been published in time for the script had been written, but it's basically simultaneous.
He's really quiet. Is he really quiet for everybody else?
No, I hear him okay. It's
Yeah,
just
it's alright.
Gyrings?
it's like it's underneath a pillow,
Oh.
but I hear him fine. Like volume wise.
Interesting.
I'm gonna turn down the episode and I'm gonna crank you up to 200%.
So, they don't have the Prime Directive yet, though. In their defense,
Yeah, they do.
the Temporal Prime Directive.
A temporal prime directive.
But canonically, they do because they have it in
Yes.
Strange New Worlds. Gene
Well-
Roddenberry just hadn't thought of it yet.
The Vulcans have it. It's just not a Federation thing.
I mean, they try not to mess with the timeline. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, you would try not to mess with the timeline. Period. Like,
Yeah, and then they do a funny thing saying that, "Oh, we didn't know you were gonna have a son, who is kind of important."
A
And then he's
son,
like-
you say?
And so, but in other words, though, that's your only impact in life. Like they see, how do they know someone in the future isn't going to be born, who's going to stop the next
Why
dictator?
you wouldn't be able to tell him? You wouldn't be able to tell him that he has to have a son, because then like he'd be so psyched out. He have so much anxiety. Oh, I gotta have a son. And then like, what if he tries to like rush it and meets the wrong person, has a kid with someone else, has the wrong kid,
Yeah.
never has the
Yeah,
right kid.
yeah.
You can't tell him.
Well,
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
it's
Tell him why
kind of the
he's important.
60s. He's already married, and he said he had 2 girls. So basically,
can't-
he's just gonna pop another one out with his wife.
Yeah,
It's a matter of time.
Yeah. No, well, but here's the thing. Maybe it's not with his wife. Maybe he cheats on his wife,
Mhm.
and he has
Yeah.
a kid, an illegitimate kid, and that's the important kid.
Yeah.
But now you tell him this, he goes home and he's like, "Oh, we gotta have another kid," and then he never has the right kid. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't tell him anything.
All
Yeah,
he
you
has
really
to do is delay the time they have sex by like 2 seconds, and then the distribution of cells is different, and it's a different kid.
Yeah.
Even
I mean-
just him being here may have already screwed things up. You know, like unless
really
this is like
does.
a
It
causality
really
loop,
does.
and he was supposed to be here.
Right. Like in Strange New Worlds,
never wanna
when
bank on that,
Boimler
though.
comes on this bridge, and that's the Orion science ship.
Really, the point is, don't worry about it. It worked out very well. Thanks for asking.
Yes.
Is that a current season spoiler for Strange New Worlds?
The ban was
It's been-
lifted on
It's been 3 weeks.
Oh, okay, cool.
because we were talking about Gorn.
Lower Decks season 4 is spoiler protected, but no, Strange New Worlds, that's fair game.
So, how about you not give tours to people? How about that? Just make that a rule.
Why
Though
didn't they use a
interestingly-
gun on Captain Christopher?
True. Though interestingly, Einstein's theory is
Like
of relativity
stun him,
50
you
years
mean?
old at this
Yeah,
point.
stun him.
Right.
That
Wait, they
makes sense.
beamed him aboard, right?
Channel Railroad
Why
in
didn't they just?
1905 and the other one in 1908.
Why don't?
Yeah. So
Why don't they
it's,
either
it's well
keep him
known
in the
that they
transporter
can't travel
buffer?
backwards in time or can't use this to travel backwards in time, and how the method of traveling forwards in time is also well known.
Well, time does slow
Yeah, you-
down as you approach the speed of light, but you're not going to be able to make time go backwards.
Yeah.
I don't.
Why
think
did
so.
they have to
That's what I
change
mean.
that? Why did they have to change that counter? Like that was that necessary? But no, we have a time machine.
We didn't have a
Soma.
special
We can
effects
travel. We can travel right now. We can travel forward in time at the
Yes,
rate
yes,
of 1 second per
absolutely.
second.
Yeah,
So
if you put two twins on one on a spaceship, the other one will have a couple of seconds shaved off his or her life for sure.
yeah, except you lose that when you come back.
Yeah. So. Oh yes, let's take more people from the past. And by
No,
the way,
just
No,
they
he's
swap them
putting it.
out.
He's putting him back.
oh okay.
He put him back.
So what happened to the original?
Don't worry.
They
about
traveled back to the. He traveled back to the moment that they
I guess they
transported
they
him
just-
away and put him back.
they just drop him into space.
Here's the thing. What happened to his memories? 1, 2. Why
Yeah,
didn't they
it
when they
doesn't really
beamed
make
him?
any sense.
Why didn't they just keep him in the transporter buffer? Why didn't they just like have him
Shoot
in
him?
stasis immediately? Like, because if they can disable weapons in the transporter, they could just like stun you in the transporter.
They have mind wiping.
Yeah, there were
for
lots of smarter ways to handle this episode.
They wiped his mind just fine. Because in Journey to Babel, they bring up truth serums and memory reading devices. All right, so I guess if you just beam someone into their own space,
Yeah, you just
You
play the
restore.
glittery water effect, and then all your problems are solved. You did it.
The Enterprise somehow disappeared, even though it was there, though, which is interesting.
true. But you have to love Deep Space Nine for that Ferengi episode, to put us back onto the U.S. Army, U.S. Air Force Base. What was it called?
Little green men.
Right,
Really good
it's
episode.
Roswell. It's Roswell, but yeah, it's the inverse of this episode. We get caught down there. Well, we get caught down there.
That's his name, Mr. Stop.
Wow.
The Ferengi are like the worst people who could have gone back to that point in history.
Yeah. So, and here's the thing: Spock has to take us out of warp so we don't go back too far into the future. So,
All they're doing here is they're moving at a high fraction of the speed of light to move forward in time really fast. But like
Yeah.
everybody else who's just like the people on Earth, the rest of Starfleet, they can just see the Enterprise just
Yeah.
flying in a straight line at sea. It's still there.
And it's also traveling excessively slowly from their perspective.
right.
Well, it'd still be traveling at a significant fraction of the speed of light.
Over hundreds of years.
Well, yeah, it's
But anyway,
really the Enterprise should be like 300 light years away from Earth at this point.
right.
But they did it in a circle, Ryan. They did all that speed in a circle. It was like what we
Oh,
need
and
is
just
we
because
need a
it's on
picture-
wires, we couldn't
it's a
see
slingshot.
that.
It's a slingshot.
What we
Okay.
what we need is we need to have a scene of the Enterprise drifting around the sun at like warp 13, and you need to have that like thing from Tokyo Drift, like the ding 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 ding.
Oh, DC Fontana wrote this episode. Woman writer at a time where there were hardly any.
Which is
Oh,
why
so-
she's DC Fontana and not Diane.
District of Columbia,
Dorothy.
Fontana.
But this
All right,
plot
1
comes
minute
in
to
handy.
Court Martial. Everyone cue up Court Martial, season 1 episode. It's around 20. You'll find it.
This
You
comes in
know,
handy.
DC Fontana and and Gene Roddenberry had a feud over Encounter at Farpoint because she wrote the script and then he added the whole thing about Q, and she was not happy about it. He took half of the credit, and she's like, "No."
Yeah. Yeah. She wrote the first half.
That's kind of
and
rough because he wrote the
and
good
he-
part of the episode. Then.
Say again?
You don't like Groppler Zorn?
You don't like jellyfish and the space jellyfish?
I
Yeah.
love Groppler Zorn.
I love space jellyfish.
Would it have been a better episode without Q? If we make an edit where we just cut all the Q material out, would it be better?
It wouldn't have been. It
No,
wouldn't have been
it'd
TNG.
be much worse.
It would have been
TNG.
more
You missed it.
coherent if they only had one plot line going at a time.
I mean, okay.
Also, you
Right.
should
might
press
have been more
play in
coherent.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. Because yeah, it was just 2 episodes, and they kept cutting between 2 different episodes.
You could tell 2 totally different people, or one totally schizophrenic person, like wrote that. But
I couldn't read the name of that other ship. I assume it's deliberate.
Constitution.
Oh, that was in the remaster. Some moving people in that building.
Wow. Why is that like a paper printout of percentages? What does that mean?
It's season
What's
1.
Starship percent complete? Is that a construction schedule? What am I looking at?
Like
Is
later,
that
the
percentage of their 5-year mission?
captain's initials make something official. So
Starship
And
status.
What's
Pen
the
and
deal
paper
with
is-
the second one where there's a gap? What does the gap mean? NCC
Yeah.
1831.
yeah,
That was weird. Maybe
look, it's a state of
its
the
shuttle
art.
is being
monitor
represented separately
facility.
on the graph.
I mean, this is Starfleet, so that could be a time like it just phased out of existence, got caught in a time loop for a while, just caught up again later.
Right. Discovery. We
Just immediately doing it.
What?
Okay.
Why is she dressed like Sailor Moon?
Yeah.
What happened?
so Wesley Crusher
He-
is Jamie.
He
or-
died due to a decision that Kirk made.
Captain Kirk ejected a crewman, Mr. Finney,
Good.
and they had like a personal beef when they were both ensigns. So people now think that
Well,
he
yeah.
purposely ejected the guy, and he's gonna have a court martial.
My God.
Could Captain Kirk be unprofessional?
That doesn't in itself seem like a material enough
That's why there's an
to justify a
inquiry.
court martial. I mean, like that's
That's why there's an inquiry before court martial. That's
Yeah.
explicitly what you said.
Yeah.
It seems you have committed perjury. Therefore, we need to do an investigation into what's going on here.
Right.
A man has died. We need to see what happened.
Yeah, but he died off screen, so does it really count?
Well, we
Also,
got to
does
see
that
the
count?
even that
Was
doesn't
that
seem
an
that
away
suspicious.
team?
Like the chain, like
No, he
the
was on
order
the
of
Enterprise
events
when they
getting
ejected him.
confused. Like that doesn't. I don't know.
No,
Like,
but
doesn't-
here,
is that really enough to be grounds for an inquiry altogether?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
A man is dead, and a man has potentially
time
lied
someone-
about what happened. So yeah,
Every time someone dies, there has to be an
I just-
explanation.
I feel like they're just gonna. That's no one's gonna be that consistent.
Well, look, it's negligence, right? Because if you accidentally push the button too, and you kill a man or a woman,
No, I don't know.
there's some. I mean,
I'm not saying that there's no. I don't know.
there's no
My
there
brain
there.
went to a completely different place. For some reason, I thought like, oh, that's the USS Negligence.
Well,
it's also the same barman outfit as we later see in Trouble with Triples.
Ah.
I mean, to be fair, it's pretty much the Enterprise is the also known as USS Negligence.
It's a well-run ship.
Is it though?
It's a well-run ship.
How many people died so far?
I don't know, man.
Completely avoidably.
It seems like their chief security officer is really crummy at their job. Constantly.
I don't think there is a chief security officer.
Even worse.
Yeah.
That's the captain's and the first officer's negligence, incompetence for not appointing one.
Ooh, those eyes.
Oh, I was
Those
gonna say
eyes
this.
in there.
Somebody posted in our Nice Memes channel on the Discord that a TV guide thing for Star Trek, and it was the first episode of Star Trek premiere,
When you
and it
say
was described.
someone, do you mean you?
No, it was someone else. I kind of liked it. So the thing is that it's described it as a Twilight Zone kind of show, and that is the precedent, basically. Like if you were gonna explain it, hey, what it's gonna be a lot of like Black Star phenomenon. So that really so
Really, really poor choice of phrasing.
well, I mean, just in context of the prior episode too, like hey, we went back in time, went forward in time. Like they didn't really think that someone was gonna be analyzing this 60 years later.
Mm. I
Did they
stand by
wait?
my previous
Did the computer
assessment.
just call him Lieutenant Commander?
Yeah, that's his rank.
I thought he was like commander of the base. Oh no, Lieutenant Commander Finney's the guy who died.
dead.
Okay. I thought Lieutenant
Yep.
Commander Benjamin Finney was this dude.
Mm-mm. We have a Commodore here. Commodores
Commodore.
are the root of all evil.
Commodore are the evil admirals of TOS. Commodores are
I-
evil admirals of TOS.
I'm going to assume that this Commodore is like framing Kirk. He made up the evidence because I'm pretty sure every Commodore in TOS is evil.
Mhm.
You know he's evil because he's got that flower.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you know.
Well, that just means he works on a starbase.
Yeah, but have you met one that wasn't a shithead yet?
That's why the starbases
Huh?
are shaped like that. He also has those things on his sleeve, the ropes.
He's also got
Braids.
those things on his head, the hairs.
The braids, the gold braids. That's a sign of his rank.
Nice little background with the
Yep.
flying
Skyscrapers.
ships moving around.
That's skyscrapers of the city. It's just shaped like a UFO on top.
One of the pieces of information we got last episode is that there were 12 Constitution class ships in active service.
Yes. Starship class ships. Later we call them Constitution.
Yeah.
And apparently there are 12 of them in the fleet.
Yep.
They're considered, the Constitution class is considered a heavy cruiser.
Right.
And see, this is why the red alert is very, very important because it tells him tells him they needed to leave.
The read alert.
As Commodore here
alert.
like wiggles that thing
Read
back and
alert.
forth, it periodically disappears from frame because it perfectly blends with his shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Just as the lighting changes, it just seems to go away.
Read
The-
alert.
That is a data disk rod or whatever.
Data.
I really
Data.
gotta say I love the isolinear chips of Deep Space Nine, and it was before we had USB drives, so it's kind of cool. But
Before we had USB drives.
right,
Isn't
No.
Kirk like 35? 40 maybe?
he is 34. In Journey to Babel, or the one after that one, he's 34. The Deadly Years, he's 34. So he's 33 right now.
So in 1997, I bought a Pentium 2 400 megahertz computer that had 64 megabytes of RAM, and I believe it had USB 1.0, and then I think it was an update to the BIOS to make it 1.1.
And when did you get a USB drive?
Fair question. So
So
the
Starfleet.
first USB drive appears to be in 1999. So Deep Space Nine just
97.
missed it.
97.
Did Deep Space Nine end in 97 or did it end in 98?
I don't know,
Yeah,
but
but it started-
unrelated to USB drives, I have a concern about Commodore Stone. He's basically accusing Kirk of murder
Yes.
and saying, no, you can totally just have a ground
99.
assignment.
So it overlapped. It overlapped, ear review. It overlapped.
Okay, Ryan was saying something.
Yes, what I'm saying is that I think it's very concerning that Commodore Stone doesn't want to prosecute a man he thinks murdered a guy.
Right.
Well,
no,
he
but
might not have enough evidence. So even if he wants to, he has to follow the law.
No,
which
but
is the
he's
correct decision.
no.
He
Commodore
said
Stone is saying he wants to just give Kirk a ground assignment.
Right.
He's literally
For
doing
murder.
what happens
He's
when
literally-
cops do
Yeah,
and
yeah.
make a mistake, and
He wants
The
to
lawyer
cover
does
it
the
up
same thing.
because it'll embarrass Starfleet.
yeah.
Give him a
I
ground
mean,
assignment. You're
that's-
the groundskeeper. This is the origin of groundskeeper. Booth P. He was just a murderer. They gave him a ground assignment.
Wait, is this his Measure of a Man again? Because this is someone working in a new JAG office who has a romance with the captain.
Oh, that's
This is
a
just
good thing.
Measure of a Man.
Yeah, that's true. She did have the hots for Riker, right?
No, for Picard.
Picard. They had a
did she?
relationship, prior
Okay, I forgot
relationship.
about that. Yeah, TNG just steals a lot from TOS, like even plots, straight up plots.
Well, they literally the first 2 seasons of TNG was just leftover scripts for TOS in Phase 2.
Yeah, and some
They
writers
just changed the names of the characters.
No, but like this Measure of a Man thing. Come on, we're having a trial. Captain's in love with the opposing lawyer. So
Hold on, wait a second. Does Kirk really love anyone other than himself? I mean,
Yes.
Yeah.
listen, you know what? Watch the Edith Keeler episode and then please dare to say that to me.
He knew her
Please.
for like 2 days.
No. Please, I don't want to hear that. You don't understand Edith Keeler.
I don't know. I think
He
Captain
didn't
Kirk
even
is
know
in love
her.
with exactly
Oh
one
my
person, and that's Captain Kirk.
Oh, but actually, you know what? Edith Keeler was also a nun. I figured that out upon rewatching it. She's a sister of like a Catholic homeless shelter, so they call her sister. So she's a nun. So there's no way he could even shack up with her. But let me not undermine my own point. He
it
really
doesn't mean anything, dude. Like
he loves Carol Marcus.
he acts like nuns are got welded on chastity belts.
You're not going to settle down and get married.
He's not going to settle down and get married with somebody who is 300 years in the past either.
The Tracy
Like,
ones
Okay.
actually also did this.
I'm pretty sure her being a nun wasn't the biggest
problem. Okay. So here is the greatest scene in all of Star Trek legal history. This guy
Just a dude
quotes
with a
the
pile of
code
books.
This guy quotes the Code of Hammurabi as like the foundation of humanity's legal history, and he's so right.
Okay, sure, that's an important historical thing, but I don't see how it's relevant.
Well, he gets
Who
Kirk
talks
off
about the Code of
he's-
Hammurabi?
because he's just that good. The Magna Carta, you gotta
Has
know
no legal basis. No,
the
you can't.
Justinian Code, the Napoleonic Code. He's great.
It's like saying you have rights from the Articles of Confederation. It's like it's not relevant. Who cares?
Look, in Star Trek, to argue in front of a court, you have to have beautiful rhetoric. So
I mean, the law is actually kind of right here. Going
Mhm.
back to the original text, the
Mhm.
current form of the law is rewritten. If you go back to the original text,
Mhm.
you can use the original terms in it and say, this is what was meant by it. This is how we can use it now.
Mhm.
I also
Mhm.
like how they did the classic Star Trek thing of you name one real thing and one fake thing. Like, oh, the
Mhm.
write-ins from
Yeah.
Moses to whoever of Alpha 3. It's like, come on.
Right.
Mhm.
So who doesn't love snazzy court martial uniforms?
Me, I don't. I think they're. I don't like the material. I don't like the cluster of triangles that I think are supposed to be metals.
Mhm.
No.
I don't
His
like the trim, just everything about it. I'm not a fan.
his list of accomplishments is so long, they have to like shut up the computer.
You mean like with data in Measure of a Man?
Yeah, this is just straight up
Yeah.
copy.
See, negligence is a crime.
Yeah, negligence is a crime.
It's called
Nobody said it wasn't.
It's called criminal negligence.
Who said it wasn't?
Well, we didn't know what he was being charged with. Murder, or it's not really murder that he's being charged with. It's negligence.
Why are you playing the dramatic reveal music? We knew he was going to plead not guilty.
This is a court. This is
Are you saying the music is in the courtroom? God, we should make court more dramatic. Every legal court in the US should have music use.
trumpets when you plead not guilty. So Spock is put in the awful position here of testifying against Kirk, and Riker has to argue against Data's sentience in Measure of a Man.
Yep.
I vote we
So-
remove Kirk's
Vulcanian.
arm.
Yeah, Vulcanian. We
Volcanian.
don't have the
Yeah, that's not
the
canon. Don't worry about that.
attributes.
Well, it was just recently overhauled to be really weird and seductive,
That is
and
very
then they had to reprogram it again. So,
Look, okay, I signed that update, and there's nothing wrong with that update.
That's the thing. Why didn't they interview the bridge crew members, and what did you remember? Because obviously losing somebody and the news that breaks is going to be a big moment on the bridge.
I mean,
Also, the flight data recorder on an airplane, for example, it records like what was the altitude of the plane when the pilot hit.
I do not dispute it. I merely state that it is
that's
wrong.
the same thing, Spock.
Okay.
No, you're not Spock. You're half Vulcan.
Yeah.
I mean, so
No, talk to the. Okay.
no,
It's very
I
rude,
understand
Mr. Spock.
you're vouching for your friend, but you know, funny thing, military court martials don't follow civilian rules.
It's true.
So you don't have like you know, objection leading that you would have in a civil court law.
Well, this is a hostile witness anyway.
Yeah,
You probably
no,
would allow leading questions.
so on cross-examination you'd be allowed to like interrupt and say, hey, I need you to just answer the question. You can do whatever you want when your own lawyer grills you for
So,
cross.
I was looking
But
at
if it's a
Spock's.
hostile witness, you can also do it on direct.
Yeah.
I was looking at Spock's service triangles. He has his all nice and neatly arranged in the form of a delta. Everyone else is just a mess. Spock's are fine.
Remember Vulcans like triangles?
Like, look at Kirk's. What is this?
He has so many. That's my thing. See, America, before they have 50 stars, we had to like update the flag for every single state that joined, and I imagine it was ugly when you only had like 42 states. How are you gonna get all those stars neatly organized?
That's a bit excessive, but sure.
But it's dramatic. Ironically, this courtroom episode is way faster than the last one.
Yeah.
There's way more going on.
Well, no, because they leave the courtroom to go to the Enterprise, and then that's when they find out what happened to Mr. Finney. But the court's technically still in session on the bridge of the Enterprise. But yes, we're out of the courtroom.
Hey.
super quick.
Had they established his rank before?
Dr. McCoy?
Yeah.
No.
Did we know he was lieutenant commander before that?
I don't think so.
So, Bones' specialty is speech patterns? Oh yeah, I
Is
remember
it
Finney was on a
relevant?
yes, because Finney was on a track for command, and then Kirk reporting him means he never got command of his own. Okay, so Finney hated you, therefore Kirk
Yeah.
hated Finney.
This is a lot of speculation.
Yeah.
This
You're
is
like
very
7
speculative.
layers deep in ifs.
Yeah.
No, do you have like a single fact to back up the assertion? Like, do you have a log entry or
I
any
mean,
evidence at all of
she
this
is
hatred?
she is semi okay on this, just she is asking a psychologist professional. So
That's true.
She-
He's
she's
not a
an expert
psychologist.
witness
I'm
for
pretty
it.
sure he later on has an episode where he specifically says he's not a psychologist.
Here he's specifically called out as a psychologist.
But
It speaks,
But he
it
shouldn't be.
speaks to motive, Your
Yeah.
Honor.
to go back to Edith Keeler, he wakes up in her bedroom and he's like, I'm a surgeon, not a psychologist. What's the deal?
That doesn't make
You
any
haven't
sense.
even seen his full power.
You should have questioned McCoy though.
Yeah, you gotta cross examine. Come on.
Well, the crazy thing is we have video evidence here that Kirk did push the button to eject Finney.
Yes.
Oh, we got the awards. Axonar mission, Grand Kite Order of Tactics, Prentarius. It doesn't stop.
This is exactly like Measure of a Man.
Well,
No. Read it in its entirety.
Yeah, I mean,
When
this
they did
is
this with
Exactly.
Data, it was going on for like 30 minutes of all his commendations. And then by the time they ejected, there was literally only one left. And they just did the exact same thing. They have their big objection. It was like, no, I want this read, all of it. And then they read one more commendation and it's it. It's done.
That's what I'm gonna do next time I get in trouble at work. I'm gonna pull out all the certificates they gave me for Appreciation Day. Most valuable agent, best customer service.
Do we really still
Why are
need
we
the
getting the-
Vaseline in this scene?
I was
Is
gonna
that...
say, yeah. Why do we get the love cam there?
Because everybody meets their hot fling in the fleet.
Hot fling.
Because McCoy had it in the Man Trap episode. That was his old girlfriend.
I murdered a man.
Is it right for the state to demand a man hand over his own child?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, we can let a man hand his child over to the state. Why not?
Okay. Do you know what makes a man? Do you? Do you?
I'm just waiting for them to say, like, we have taken Kirk's measure of a man. I feel like they're gonna say it. They have to use the words measure of man at some point.
Who we are
That's
about to
the
measure.
thing. That's the thing. Like, Starfleet doesn't want this trial. It's so embarrassing for.
Yeah, that's
They should have had
why Starfleet sucks. They don't want the trial because it's embarrassing.
They'd rather. And by the way, you guys are laughing
There's-
at the ground job, but basically, when a cop, he could either work the streets, the beat, or he could have a desk job. So
Yeah.
that's when
Yeah,
you
sure,
retire a
but
cop. You give him a
if a
desk job.
cop just straight up murders a dude,
Yeah,
it's
we
not
don't.
reasonable.
well-
It's just like, no, we'll just transfer him somewhere else. He can stay a
Okay,
cop.
I
That's
mean,
fine.
This is
it does tend to be
precisely
what
why
happens.
there
That's what
should
they
not.
do.
Yeah, and that's a
why there
big
should not be an
issue.
internal
Yeah.
It is.
group
Yeah.
which controls it. It should be
Yeah.
externally checked and
Yeah.
reported, investigated as well.
This is the ugly side of the military. But even now, there was a spouse of a military member killed on base, and there's no criminal charges filed yet in North Carolina where this happened because they're still treating it as a domestic issue.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh
Hence.
oh. Eject
Now,
my worst
unprompt.
enemy.
Why
You
do they have a
talked-
dedicated button for that on his
Yeah.
panel?
You talk smack about me, Finney.
Normal view.
Go bye into space now.
That's insane. It goes yellow alert, red alert, jettison pod. Why?
Yeah.
And Finney goes bye. That's what Kirk did. He just murdered a man in cold blood.
I mean, that's what it looks like. It looks like he was planning it.
Proof is in the pudding.
Murder. Murder most foul. That's what happens when you have a jettison pod button and he's not even looking at the panel. He was still looking at the view screen.
Eat dust, Finney.
Okay, so who faked the computer record? Is it the Commodore? Because he's a Commodore.
We'll find
We
out.
will,
But-
we'll learn it later. I don't want to spoil it.
But the lawyer, by the way, how come there's no discovery? You're supposed to at least give the evidence over to the other side. Hey, it's a nice ring planet.
It's
Well-
because it's space law. That's
Has
why.
any TV court ever done discovery properly ever?
Well, again, it's a military court-martial. It's not a civilian trial. So maybe the government gets to play its hands close to its chest. I gotta say, I love this scene as a kid growing up. The guy mispronounces Hammurabi as Hammurabi, but other than that, it's a brilliant speech.
Captain Kirk or the lawyer? Because Captain Kirk mispronounces everything.
The lawyer here.
Well, if you really like this lawyer in this courtroom context, You
Mhm.
might also consider that old black and white movie, 12 Angry Men, which is about a
Oh.
jury deliberation where he's in it.
God, he looked familiar.
I didn't know that.
It's a good movie.
It is a good movie.
Mega late.
I was surprised to learn it was written as a TV movie. I've assumed it was a play.
Well, I'm pretty sure the movie came after something, like it was an old thing that got repurposed. I don't remember the history
Yeah,
of it.
maybe.
So Kirk says here, Spock, you may be able to beat your next captain at chess. Meaning Kirk wins a chess versus Spock. Meaning Kirk's brain is bigger. Anyway, we'll just talk it up to season 1.
Apparently 12 Angry Men was originally a teleplay for, it was just one episode of some
Oh,
rando TV show, and then they
okay.
made it a movie.
And I think it's also like a Broadway, off-Broadway.
Yeah,
play.
and then they made it a play.
There's a lawsuit because the original guy who wrote the original like off-Broadway play had the rights, and then somebody else in the past 5 years made their own rendition of the play, and the first person sued to stop the play from being reiterated across.
Wait, hang on. Was that not actually Captain Kirk? Is that an imposter? He was being real weird.
No, he's depressed because like Spock ran a search of the computer's working fine.
Did the kid murder Finney? What?
Spock is testing the computer, Matoy.
So in 1997, that was the first time a human, like a chess master, lost to a computer. So before then, I guess it was assumed that computers would never be able to beat people in chess. Oh no, but he says here he programmed the computer, so it wouldn't be able to beat him, right? Because he programmed it.
So what he proved is that the computer's glitching.
Yeah.
That doesn't explain away the video recording.
Well,
I feel like that's
computers
the biggest thing here, because the
Comput-
computer glitching does not change the recording.
computers are like a
Yeah,
biological organism. You know,
that's an
your toe
awfully specific
hurts. It's probably because
consequence
there's
of
something
he's
wrong with
alleging.
your other part of you. Everything's connected.
Hey, Star Trek people.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey,
So do you think Captain Kirk murdered this dude?
He purposely ejected him, right? Who do I believe, me or my lying eyes? Uh-oh.
No, Spock, too late. The defense rests. It's over. It's done.
It's over. The trial's over. There's no appeal. He's going to be demoted to ensign.
Dad, no, you're done. He may as well have rung the little bell.
Yeah, lawyers don't talk to each other
Yeah.
because there's a lot of snarkiness between them. Ah, go for it. Tell us.
All these old, irrelevant documents that have no legal bearing anymore, yes?
The
Yeah.
Martian colonies. You guys hear that? We're gonna have
Yeah, we had to do the
Fake.
same thing we did earlier, where we list a bunch of real things and then a couple of sci-fi things.
Yep.
It's classic.
What you're telling me you don't appreciate the constitutional virtues of the Martian Republic?
No.
Okay.
I think was the Federation not mentioned yet, like the Federation's charter.
Well,
So
It
that's
wouldn't-
whatever they would have name
Oh,
dropped later on.
An information system. Another
You
way.
have the rights. The right to face your accuser does not apply to a camera recording.
No,
You
but,
don't get to go and question the physical camera itself.
interestingly enough, for example, you do have to the police have to prove a chain of custody for the evidence. So if at any point we don't know where something was, you can have it dismissed as evidence against you.
Yeah. So this is actually making kind of the opposite point about Measure of Man. That's pretty funny.
Oh, a machine isn't a person, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Ah, yes, they brought the chessboard. Very important. Very
Oh,
good
God.
legal strategy.
This is such a.
I don't understand how people weren't bored to death at this point.
I could not possibly have made a fault in my own personal programming. Therefore, it must be the computer.
Well, it's possible you could reasonably assume that Spot trained it by playing against it, and therefore it would be to his ability.
This is a stretch.
No, it could not. It absolutely could not. So who did? Spock did it.
The records officer is Lieutenant Commander Finney.
Yep, Lieutenant Commander Finney is alive. He is the murderer the whole time.
Dun dun dun.
So Finney was just like hiding in a closet? What?
Yeah.
Well, not a closet.
Was he hiding in a torpedo tube? Where was he?
Uh,
I think if you
you'll
hide
find out.
right behind the nacelle, they can't see you.
Do they not have internal sensors yet? Or should I say, have they not decided that they have internal sensors yet?
Unclear.
So the Enterprise becomes a courtroom now. We got all the top brass sitting around with nothing better to do.
I vaguely remember the heartbeat thing. I don't remember
Yes.
where he ended up hiding.
And to me, that comes out of like the telltale heart, basically, with Edgar Allan
Ooh,
Poe.
here's what we should do. We should evacuate the entire ship and then let out all the air.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would work.
Mr. Finney's presumed dead, and, let's ensure it.
So the guy never once came out to pee or get a snack.
Well, in the future,
What the
they
replicators
wouldn't
for.
need to do such things.
Okay.
I mean, he could just beam his bladder contents out into space.
And just beam in some candy bars to snack
Oh my
on.
god. They
One
can
to
increase
the
it on an
fourth
order of
power.
1 to the
One to
4th.
the fourth power is
Wow.
one.
They've done it.
That's adorable.
Well, that's what happens when you get too much bass.
The
Oh,
Enterprise crew discovers dubstep.
Jesus. They like the wubs. I don't know what to tell you.
You know what though? Jokes aside,
That's a very different sound now. Like they literally changed the sound
Don't
that
worry
was
about
playing
that.
when they turned it down.
it's an amazing representation considering they didn't have like thermal imaging or whatever back then. to show that, look, we're isolating sounds, and that's how we find the guy.
But McCoy, you held it up to the wrong spot for Mr. Spock.
So, no music needed. The suspense is killing us with the heartbeats.
That's cold.
Shoots him.
Wait, did he just tell him to kill him?
Yes. Do it. So this is
So-
internal scanners, kind of. Very analog
Yeah.
style.
Yeah,
Internal
yeah,
scanners.
basically. If you didn't know what digital was, this is how you would show isolating sound waves.
I know that heartbeat anywhere.
Yeah.
So the Commodore wasn't evil? But what
No.
about
Nope.
my preconceived notions?
No, but he was evil in the sense that he's the bad
But
guy
he's
at this episode.
He's a
Because he wants-
Commodore, though.
He wants to give Kirk a desk job. That's bad.
Yeah, I
we
guess he
know
was evil in the sense that he was going to let a murderer go free, just to avoid embarrassment.
Yeah.
That's
no,
the
but
standard issue.
look, Star Trek
Bad
1,
moral
Star Trek 2,
behavior. Yeah.
Admiral Kirk cannot accept a desk job. He belongs on the bridge of the Enterprise. He'll take the demotion. Back to captain.
Do we agree with that logic? It'll make him easier to handle if it's just Kirk, not like a whole security team.
I think basically all his blind rage and jealousy is directed towards him. So they're gonna like wear him out with his like madness. Hey, the nacelles.
Who's hiding in main engineering?
The
Is this
engine
main
room.
engineering?
Yeah, the engine room. Oh, you wish you were captain. Isn't that
Oh,
cute?
he's hiding in the ship. He is the ship. He transferred his consciousness. Careful, Jim. Some things in here don't react well to phasers.
One thing I gotta say, there's that little shaft, that tube thing that they climb up of, and it shows up in the movies too. I think like when Kirk in Generations saves the Enterprise B, he's basically in that stairway shaft thing.
They have him in Strange New Worlds too.
Yeah.
Like the Jeffries do?
It's this vertical shaft that like you fix tubing in. Oh, this guy by the way
Vinny,
plays
don't
Bo.
monologue. Just shoot him.
He plays Bo in To Kill a Mockingbird, the black and white Atticus Finch version.
Well, he should be playing To Kill a Kirk right now. What are you
Yeah.
doing, dude? Just shoot him. No, Finny, no, do kill him. You can kill Kirk and then destroy the ship. That's
It's
a good
like the
crazy
Bond.
face, though. I like the crazy face.
Yeah. It's like the Bond villain, though. You know, you gotta tell your plan before you kill the good guy. And the crazy face is very like Jack Nicholson Shining.
He's got a Willem Dafoe face to me.
Yeah.
It does look like Defoe.
And his daughter probably feels bad now.
Oh, he's almost doing a Kubrick stare there.
What was Finny's mistake again? What did he do?
He left out something which would have destroyed the entire ship.
He left the antimatter door open. Look, some
So he
people are just meant to be lieutenant commander, and they're not captain material.
So he just didn't want to get embarrassed and like demoted or something.
No, he was already reprimanded when they were both ensigns, and that stopped him from becoming captain, even though him and Kirk are the same age or joined at the same time.
Are they though? Because I mean, Jesus, look at Finney. He's
Yeah,
like
I
10
think
years older.
I think the
At
hate and the
least.
jealousy has made him that way.
You could tell because he's got the 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah.
Yes, kill the child. Do it, Finney. Don't back out now. Yes.
Yeah.
Hammer fist. Excellent.
There's
That
no way
is
you're
not
gonna
William Shatner. Who the heck is that guy?
there's no way you're gonna threaten the Enterprise and Captain Kirk's not gonna clock you.
Seriously, who is that? That is not
Yeah.
Every time we cut to a wide shot, it's not even close.
yeah.
It's the guy from Trouble with Tribbles. Pretty sure he was Shatner's stunt double.
Shouldn't the stunt
Wow, not even
double look
there.
even vaguely like the actor? I guess it doesn't matter when this was at like 240p, 240i.
Also, yeah, Finney's character, I don't know how old he's supposed to be, but the actor is 16 years older than Shatner.
This is the repair shoot. I think like even doesn't Spock? Well, Spock's in the other thing, but Spock also goes into this thing before he goes into the radioactive chamber in Star Trek 2. But this is the fix it vertical shaft. You gotta rewire the ship.
Hey, so now that the dangerous guy's dealt with, anyone want to send any engineering team down there?
Nah, don't worry about it.
We don't
Captain
have
Kirk
time.
took an engineering extension course at the academy. He's got it. He's good.
We don't have time, and also we evacuated everyone off the ship because we had to do the heartbeat isolation thing to
But
prove.
Spock's
the
here.
negatives.
I missed that part.
Yeah, we don't have time. We're dying.
We could just have another starship and just tractor Enterprise out.
Yeah, I just dropped in from the YouTube stream a couple minutes ago, so hi.
So I would really love an ex of mine to prosecute me in court martial. That must be a good feeling.
What's wrong with you?
No, it's just you get a date and then you find out that's your prosecuting attorney.
Do lawyers still exist in the Federation?
Yeah, man.
They have books
They got
too.
a whole JAG office.
They have physical books like legal dictionaries on
They
the
have
Code of
a lot
Hammurabi.
fewer lawyers because, as we established in the episode with Groppler Zorn, during the post-atomic horror, we killed all the lawyers. Literally every
Based.
single lawyer hunted down.
Wow.
There's a joke in Hitchhiker's Guide to Galaxy series where all of the lawyers and things are thrown on the ships because the planet quotation marks was trying to explode or something like that. Everyone was gonna die, but in reality, nothing was happening. They're just getting rid of those people. It's a very
Alright.
interesting uniform for her.
She gets a Starbase flower
Not just that, the actual
mini skirt.
dress, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it wasn't a miniskirt. It was a proper dress.
So, what did Finney actually do? Did he like record himself in the chair in the reverse shot, pressing the eject button? How did he fake the video?
Maybe he just reversed the footage of like when he pushed the buttons in the order.
He's the
Or he
records
just
officer.
spliced-
Don't worry
or
about
he
it.
could've- If he just spliced it into a different place and changed which light was on, so the yellow alert light was on rather than the red alert one, then that would be enough.
Yeah, they gotta have a clock in that same camera angle so we know when that video was taken.
All right, next episode and the final episode for today is Return of the Archons, or The Return of the Archons, because seriously, like 75% of TOS episodes start with the word the.
Yeah.
It's weird. We have Return of the Archons. It's all about the Purge, which they call the Red Hour. Some guy is a scythe. There's an evil computer. It's a whole thing.
It's a lot like the Nazi children episode.
What?
We get the same set too. The yeah.
They're not Nazis. What are you talking about?
Never mind. I'm sorry, because that set is used a lot of times.
Press play in 5,
Let's
4,
see the Nazi children.
3, 2, 1, play.
Old Western.
That's like a colonial style hat, though.
Yeah, the little
Or
children.
beer.
Oh, this guy's so gonna die.
So Star Trek was first aired on NBC, right? Or was it CBS?
No, NBC. Desilu Studios was owned by NBC, I'm pretty sure.
Well, later they bought them, but yeah, it was on the lot of NBC. Like it was a 50-50 venture. Okay, so I'm just wondering, like, then these Western sets are NBC's. Thank you.
Oh god. All right. Prepare to increase the away team counter death to 15. We're gonna miss Mr. O'Neill. Okay, so Mr. O'Neill's killing himself. That's good.
You know, I kind of like the colonial era outfits because the Landru people are very much like Salem witch inquisitioners. See, the way Sulu just shook shows law of momentum still applies when you transport. I like the body to refer to the cult, the group. Technically, in Christianity, the church is also known as the body of Christ.
Landrew. Yeah, I didn't remember this part where they have the magic brainwashing thing. I thought they were just all really into Landrew.
No, Landrew told us to watch this watch along. Aren't we all happy watching TOS forever?
Join us. Join the body.
So yeah, cults start out innocuously, and then before you know it, you're starving someone to death and beating them.
Before
and
you know
putting
it, you're
them to death
chasing
with
people
Trump.
down in the street with a scythe.
Yeah. It all seems like you're joining a nice little club.
We're not a cult, we're a community where we value love and friendship.
And then you're drinking Kool-Aid before the year 2000 comes around.
But I'm mostly wondering now, why didn't Sulu just have a gun?
Yeah.
Like, these people were walking slowly toward them with a stick. Just shoot them.
Or just keep walking.
Yeah, just leave.
Just a little power walk.
I thought it was going to be a cannon or something for a second there.
Just
I didn't.
One
I
of
didn't
Captain
remember.
Kirk's lathes.
I didn't remember Sue getting brainwashed that quickly. I thought like you had to go into the chamber like Bones does later, and like get
Well, Captain Kirk probably has to because he's Captain Kirk. Sulu's
Archons
only
is
a
like
side character.
Archons is really important for like Greek and Platonic, Neoplatonic philosophy, Gnosticism. But the Archons rule our worlds, and they're kind of evil.
Archons are a unit you get by merging 2 Templar together. In total, it costs 100 minerals and 300 gas. They're pretty good. They have good splash damage.
The Archons have ruled our world since the Aeons.
No, Archons don't really rule the meta anymore ever since they got rid of the Archon toilet. After they changed how that worked, how the mothership's vortex works, I mean, Archons are still good, but they're not like Mimi.
I used to be obsessed with StarCraft. I wonder when in my life it was no longer the case that when I heard the word Archon, I didn't immediately think of StarCraft.
Yeah, it's Neoplatonic philosophy for me. But everybody in this village dresses like a puritanical Christian.
Why does... Did they put something on his face to make him look more waxy?
I think they
He looks
did, but
real
it is
creepy.
hot outside. California is hot. So it's implied that they live in a valley where not all the rules are the same, but everyone's supposed to know who Landrew is. They just don't know how to react.
Okay,
Did Kirk bring a gun?
just checking. These people are supposed to be creepy, right? It's not just the
Uh,
60s and everything seems too wholesome.
No,
Yeah,
I
no,
mean, look,
it's definitely supposed to be creepy.
everybody,
just checking.
everybody walks in time with each other. It's a
I
very.
mean, that's supposed to, that, yeah. Okay. This is obviously right out.
It's definitely psychotic because it's like Stepford wife perfect.
So do they purge every day? Because this doesn't seem sustainable.
It says specifically festival, so possibly not.
Oh, I heard someone in the background screaming about Landrew.
Well, the amount of women being carted off kind of implies like raping and pillaging is going on.
oof. Oh, except for the rich people.
Yeah, except them.
Here's where William Shatner's speech style works really well for them.
Obey Landrew.
So, I've never seen those movies because it's too much for me. But like The Purge, just the idea that society goes wild every year and like murder is allowed.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah,
Funny
I'm
that's
with
been a
this
concept
guy.
since as far back.
These guys are barely even following the will of Landrew. Yeah,
Give him
don't
a
worry
good
about it. It's
tap
the
with
will
the
of
Landry
Landrew,
stick.
man. She's fine.
Give him a little poke, like they did with Sulu.
Did that
After
did that little physical flame turn on an electric overhead light?
Probably.
candlelight is nowhere near enough to illuminate a TV set.
This is going to be a really long episode, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's we don't find out
very typical episode.
Landrew is a robot for a long time.
Like they've been down to the planet. These people are doing bad things, unhinged things.
They destroyed property. Why?
There's
What's
That was awesome.
But like even if this is just them like letting out all their emotions all at once, who jumps through a window?
yeah.
I'm also waiting to see what happened to Lieutenant O'Neill. I assume he's of the body now. Maybe he's gonna point a stick at them. That was a weird crossfade, but alright, show. Could have at least lined up the camera angles.
Yeah, crossfades. You don't really see those, do you?
No, everything after TOS is just all hard cuts.
I mean, in general too. Like, and then they do a lot of wipes and in Star Wars. That's it's sort of a
It
stylistic.
said red hour, and
touch,
then it's
but,
more like
yeah.
red 12 hours.
Okay, now who
Hello.
cleans it up? Who
Controllers.
fixes the windows?
Who repairs the economy?
Why didn't they beam down in uniform? If they did beam down in uniform to Old Earth, that's a good point. What's up with that?
There's the episode with Vol, where it turns out the society's just following the orders of a robot. This is pretty messed up. You're
It's the
telling
will
her
of
it's all
Landrew.
right.
I never watched the original
Oh, okay.
series.
Yeah, we're just gonna drug her to deal with the trauma. That's fine.
Lower Decks has led me to believe that the secret robot controlling a civilization bit has been done a lot here.
It has, yes. It's a very common trope in TOS. There's a lot of evil computers.
All you gotta do is smash it.
No, you talk it into paradox. Talk it into a paradox and it destroys itself.
There's also that episode where, instead of actually going to war, they just like digitally like play Battleship against each other and put the people in like a extermination tube or something. So computers solve all our problems soon.
Yeah,
That's
that's what jest means.
he didn't even all he said was that they're infallible. He didn't even
But he
mock
said
them.
it in jest.
Okay. But that's what the Inquisition looks like when they show up for you.
Ah, nice little firework.
Ryan, have you seen Aliens with Sigourney Weaver yet?
No.
You really should. But I just learned Ridley Scott. He burned so much incense on the set because that smoke effect gives the film some depth.
I mean, I've seen Strange New World, so I feel like I've seen Aliens. I don't think I really need to watch the original. Pretty much got it
Well,
covered.
Aliens is the sequel, actually. That's James Cameron. Alien was the original, and it's honestly one of the best sci-fi movies ever made. I suggest you watch it.
Well, I watched the first like 30 minutes to an hour of Alien, and nothing had happened yet, so I turned it
Right.
off.
Well, that's the point. He doesn't.
Everything
You don't see the alien until the last 10 minutes of the movie.
everything after Aliens is garbage, though.
Even Aliens, by the way, filmed by James Cameron, it was an action flick by the studios.
Aliens 3, Aliens
Ridley
3
Scott
and Alien
is the only
Resurrection is
authentic.
garbage. Prometheus is okay. Prometheus is Ridley Scott. And what's the other one that came after Alien Covenant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prometheus, I think they had an opportunity and they kind of. Wow. All right.
So this guy is
Frustrating.
like the chief Puritan. He's telling everybody on Landru.
Oh, they're very polite lawgivers.
Charming.
I feel like that's the
They're
same
nice.
voice. So Landru is your local area network.
Okay, these lawgivers are actually terrible at their jobs. What's... Why don't you just, like, do the thing you did to Sulu? Just make them of the body. Wait, are they robots?
Sulu's pretty good at doing that crazed, I can't control myself thing. It's kind of like how in zombie movies you have to walk like a zombie, so they think you're a zombie.
Yes, Spock. That is a holotube. Congratulations, you have determined that it is a prop.
Yes. It's like, if you're playing D&D, if you want to, like a zombie movie, walk among the undead, you just cast Turn Undead on yourself.
Blessed be the fruit. May the Lord open. Have you watched Handmaid, Ryan? Handmaid's Tale?
I've gotten the Handmaiden in my party in KOTOR 2.
Oh, okay. Uh-oh.
Oh, are they communing with Landru?
Landru's saying, go get those imposters.
So, if Landru's a computer, is everyone just, like, implanted with a chip in their brain?
There is actually an episode of Stargate which does very similar to this. And in Stargate, they literally have devices connected to their brains which the computer communicates with.
Yeah, they imply in TOS, I believe, the Universal Translator works through a chip.
Mostly they imply that the Universal Translator works very well. Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
But we never got everybody with sticks and clubs and
Wide field?
Oh.
suffragists.
What is this?
Hey, they remembered it.
They invented it. And now they're gonna forget.
Don't
Right.
we? In the Lieutenant Darren episode where Picard falls in love with that scientist lady, they use phasers on a wide field to work like force fields, right?
They very occasionally do it in other shows, but
The first time I
Not
remember seeing it in
near as often as they
TNG
should.
is in Frame of Mind, the Riker episode where he sets it to
Yeah.
wide field to blow off the side of the building.
Yes.
But that was in his brain, so who knows?
Does the Prime Directive not exist at this point yet?
But the
Unclear.
wouldn't the same thing happen to the other guy?
They mention it. But this planet isn't. No, it doesn't
Oh,
exist.
this is the castle from Cat's Paw again.
Cat's Paw, we haven't watched it.
Well, we kind of watched it
We watched
already.
it for Halloween, but we haven't seen it.
It's the same
Um,
set though, because they have one stone set.
The dungeon.
Also, that was temporarily in the cage, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think it's only because this guy's daughter was raped that he turned against Landrew and is helping our friends now.
My God, this culture has LEDs.
Yep.
Oh, you hear that? Spock called us very advanced.
Hmm.
Yeah, we wouldn't have LEDs for another 40 years.
It's also interesting how they did that at the time of TOS.
I mean, I assume there's just a like shining out of reflective.
Yeah, it should
box.
just be reflective material.
Literally, all it is
You can see
is
the lights at
it's
the
a
top.
white panel. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
They just turned on the overhead lights.
Yeah.
Right.
Though it does look like they angled the overhead lights so it's approximately coming from that direction. Well, not really, actually.
You and me, huh? You were totally down with Landrew until a minute ago.
Well, yeah, Landry's very persuasive.
Oh, he's an Archon who has avoided being absorbed.
Use gun on a man. You just
A shot, you say, Captain? Dang, that's a big needle. That's no hypo.
Eliminate his heartbeat.
It makes no sense. If a machine was running society, it wouldn't have them just do mayhem at 6 o'clock. It would be like mine more cobalt from the ground.
Is it a lapse in the mind control, maybe?
Yeah, or maybe it's just like an outlet for all the urges that they normally have.
I feel like
to
Kirk's a
resist.
little bit slow in this episode. People keep talking about the Archons, and he didn't piece together that that might be related to the USS Archon that went missing here.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like, come on, Kirk, come on.
Mm.
It's so obvious. Why is this a plot twist?
Dude, Scotty needs a different barber.
Is that even his hair, or is that a wig?
I don't know, but it
I
looks
feel
bad on
like
the front.
they moved it forward and then they they made it wavy with the flat iron.
So now the light is coming from the opposite direction of the LED panel. It's coming from the right, the panel's on the left.
Mm-mm.
They're trying, though.
I learned
Hi,
in
Andrew.
2001 Space Odyssey, directed by Stanley Kubrick, when the actor is looking at the computer screen and there's information reflecting back on their face, they had a projector going, and when they did that shot. So you put a projector on someone's face with text.
Is he the first to do that in that movie?
Yeah, because the Aliens does it later, and I learned that from Alien, the original Alien from 1979.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, perfect societies usually fail horribly, but the
I
Federation.
mean, yeah, that's half the plot of
How
Star
is
Trek
this
that involves
universal? Right.
beaming down to the planet.
What do you mean? This perfect society where everyone murders each other at the red hour.
Yeah.
God, you like did the Worf thing where he aims the gun at the view screen. Come on.
Yeah.
What's your plan here?
There is a point in Star Trek where they shoot the hologram of an enemy.
I mean, we even find this is a little Borg-like, but we even find a V'ger-like satellite in TOS. And that's a TOS movie that they later make it into. So people can be brain wiped using sound waves. So TOS is establishing.
I don't think this is a brain wipe. I think this is just being really annoying until they
Yeah.
give up.
Yeah.
So
Big
the
comment
U.S.
on that.
military was developing this, not a weapon, but method of crowd control. You put out microwave emissions, and it kind of like fries. It feels like your skin is on fire, but it's just a little microwave radiation that's cooking your skin for a second, and the crowd should disperse.
Makes you a little toasty.
Is this the
Yep,
same
yes,
set or is this
yeah.
now a prison?
There's the same, similar set, just redressed.
Yeah.
Is it redressed?
They are in a different location.
I guess they took out the table.
But yeah, it's just the same set. It's actually redressed a little bit.
Yeah. You gotta love that big torch, though. You wouldn't have that today. Brazier.
Because it's insane. And we have LEDs now.
Yeah, it's a lot of smoke coming out of that.
This is an enclosed space. Why are they lighting things on fire?
And I can't imagine those like plaster walls aren't very
Flammable.
flame retardant.
They have to
No,
hold it
they're not.
very far away from the wall.
You do have to be really careful because it is really flammable. But dungeons had torches, so if you'd have a dungeon set, you gotta have those torches.
Complete with asbestos.
I mean, by the way, most of the world didn't have electrical lighting at this point. I remember learning about the Vatican II Council of the Catholic Church in 1962. The whole thing was lit by chandeliers with hundreds of candles. A, that drips over your head as you're walking. B, it's so hot. Not only hundreds of people gathered in a single giant
And to
church.
replace it, you have to like get a ladder.
Yeah.
And
And
then
turn it on
people
every
fall
morning.
down.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but super hot too. So it's making that much light through candles is not fun.
That torch in the back makes me nervous, man.
Yeah, it is.
It's burning so.
That smoke is actually just the wall being disintegrated.
I mean, in this day and age, they have a fire person on staff every time they have fire. But in the 1967, this is
Just pragmatically, is the entire tube it's on, is that full of fuel?
Yeah. Plaster, paper mache.
Well, it's
Pretty fun.
probably burning something. With how much smoke it's putting out, I don't think it's like a gas or anything.
Yeah, it's not a gas.
Oh,
look,
one of the
one of them
torches went out.
Yeah, they went out.
Yeah, they ran out of fuel.
Wood chips. Wood chips is like a pretty easy thing
Oh,
to
yeah.
use. Yeah.
So I was thinking these have been burning for a while.
Between takes.
And
Yeah,
yeah.
there's been a lot of cuts here. There's no telling.
If your best friend starts calling you friend, it's time to find a new friend.
Punch him, Kirk. You know you want to smack some scent into him.
Pilgrim.
Yes, Kirk, obey Landru.
It's so creepy and sad at the same time.
Why do people keep doing this to McCoy? Even Spock does this to McCoy.
That's true.
Leave his brain alone.
Does McCoy get the O'Brien treatment a lot? I guess.
McCoy must suffer.
Yeah.
Like in Star Trek 3, when Spock is catching him, McCoy's eyes are like milky white. He's just so possessed. He's like, Jim, why did you leave me on Genesis?
We never finished our chess game, Jim. Rook to e7.
Jim, I told you not to leave me.
You never paid me back the 20 credits.
So we'll all be happy if we all just get a lobotomy.
Okay, now we're back at the alien chipset. Okay, good.
Yep.
Cat's paw is also a lot in here. Oh, that's the agony chamber. Oh yes, we're all in communion
Why isn't this
with
dude a
each
robot,
other.
though?
Agony chamber.
Why does it
Agonizer.
spin?
The hurt room.
No pain, no gain.
There is no pain under Landru.
Thanks, Red Shirt.
They could get through the wall. It's made of foam.
Medieval age, not Stone Age.
Yeah.
Powers
It's
far
actually
beyond
closer
your
to Victorian
comprehension.
almost.
Yeah.
How dangerous are they? All they have is a stick that only works at point blank range.
It's literally just a hollow stick.
We have a starship.
Brainwashing. I think brainwashing was like a huge thing in the 60s. Also, it's funny. There was a woman. Her name was Patty Hearst. She was like a rich young white woman, but she joined the Symbionese Liberation Army, which is like a Black Panther offshoot. But yeah, if you put someone through like, first put them in a closet, then you indoctrinate them slowly, they join your they join your militia.
What if, instead of a slow indoctrination, we just point a stick?
Yeah, Drusilla just did it immediately.
Oh my.
And of course, we have the Manson murders, but that hasn't happened yet, I think.
Lights return you.
Oh, we have a good guy.
Marplon's nice.
We have a good guy.
His nice spinny tube. I still don't get why it spins.
So when he gets out, he doesn't have to turn.
Where is the rest of the Archon crew? How did they get captured?
TOS has really interesting music. It's like it really is Twilight Zone.
Very
Eternal
convincing, Mr.
Joy
Spock.
with Landru.
All right, well, they have a gun now, so that's good. Now we can just start blasting. We can get out of here in a minute.
So anyway, started blasting.
Blessed be the fruit.
Well, we can take care of Dr. McCoy. We've got a gun now.
Eliminate heartbeat.
There's a really good YouTube channel. I think it's called Telltale, but the guy analyzes cults and he tries to see if a certain movement is a cult. Or one of the things he talks about is like one of the things cults do is they do dress control, diet control, behavior control, and information control. So you're not allowed to read outside literature. Really interesting stuff.
It's all about changing how they think.
Yeah. But you know, in some ways, regular religion also incorporates those things: dress control, diet control, behavior control. It's just, you know, when
The degree is
yeah,
different
of
and
course,
matters quite
yeah,
a bit.
yeah, and the information control is a big part too. When someone says, "Hey, you're not supposed to read outside literature, otherwise you're never
So
going to be
what
able
I'm
to talk."
hearing is that the Pope is a computer.
Something like that. But
Oh,
yeah,
are these people human?
yeah, they are. The information control is the big part. That's when you're not allowed to think for yourself, which is like,
Oh, we get We're going to assassinate a head of state. Nice.
prime
Oh,
directive
yeah.
of non-interference.
Yeah, who
prime
cares? Screw it.
Kirk don't
Canonically,
care about
yes,
no
there's a prime directive at this point in history. But, yeah, who cares?
It's been noted in every other series that Kirk didn't give a damn.
Yeah.
Let's be fair, a lot of Star Trek captains don't care.
To be fair, they all should be on court-martial for that. prime
Picard stuck with it quite a bit, actually.
No, he did not. No, he did
Yeah, he
not.
did. I mean,
Right,
there's more
he
than
did
one
not.
time where there's
Remember
like,
the episode The Drumhead where Admiral Satie's like, you violated the Prime Directive on like 47 occasions, Captain.
still,
We'll have to have a talk about this.
the fact that he basically ever said things like, "No, we can't interfere in this obviously unjust war."
Picard was literally
He's the
going to
one time that the writers actually decided that a couple of times they should have the captain pretend to care about the Prime Directive.
Picard follows the Prime Directive when it allows him to do a quick genocide. Otherwise, it doesn't matter to him.
There was the one episode. The only reason he helped save this civilization from their planet like melting is because Data became friends with a girl
Yeah.
Yep.
and messed things up.
Yep. Basically,
Right,
his
that's often the way it would be. Is that in
his
TNG would be that
empathy
someone
took
would cause him to back up, like get painted into a corner where he violates the Prime Directive and saves them. Because brother does something similar, right? Well, we weren't going to save them, but
Probably.
now you've roped us into it.
I mean, you could have just walked away.
We
No,
were
in
going to
cases
let
where
everyone
the
die,
damage was already done.
but now I have to like mentally process the fact these are actual people with feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the
It's so much easier to let people die when they're just faceless names.
Oh yeah.
How many people were murdered today? A lot.
Well, we're enjoying Star Trek, aren't we?
That's why nobody really cares how many people died on the Death Star when it was blown up, and everybody gets to have a good cheer, or whoever's alive gets to cheer.
Wow, we're pretty morbid today. Yeah, I'm gonna.
One death is a tragedy.
1 million deaths is a statistic.
It's estimated the first Death Star had a little over 1.5 million people on board.
It had 1.5 million space Nazis on it.
Well, about 60,000 of them were actual soldiers, 180,000 pilots. The rest were just crew. Nazi plumbers, I guess.
Yippee! That was
So this
One death is a
priest dude,
tragedy. 1 million deaths is a statistic,
we
right?
literally just said that. So I don't like this priest dude. He's talking about Landru in the past tense. Landru is our Lord and Savior.
I don't know. They were
Good
pretty bad at
soundproofing
writing
on the
laws.
walls.
You gotta have a mechanism for like improving the laws.
They don't write the laws. They just enforce they're the cops.
Okay.
Landru writes the laws.
These columns don't line up towards the door, and that was bothering me. They were like slanted.
It's still Destiny.
In the future, nobody would care about right angles.
And NBC hasn't bought it yet. Made it Paramount.
Who designed this computer? Why is that the password?
There's not enough numbers or special symbols.
It's not even two-factor authentication.
Where's the security questions?
Well, I don't think it needs security questions because all the answers would just be Landru. Oh, hey, Landru.
Yes.
So this kind of like a piece of the action. We left a little bit and messed up a whole planet. Wait, no, it says Landru's been around for 6,000 years, though.
So, thousands of years ago, this society, they were technologically advanced enough to have LED panels, and they just turned over their government to a computer. And what was the process here? Where did the brainwashing technology come from?
I think his thing was like no passion.
You're right, Spocky is a useless captain. It's not doing anything.
Pay no attention to the man behind the door.
Oh, hey, Landru.
We're
I
up
am the great
to
and
see
powerful
the
Oz.
weather. I'm allergic to eggs. Hey, that's the same computer that was bombing the planet. So we're laughing at this, but what if AI it just gets so good, it knows that I'm best off being a social worker, and you're best off being a shoemaker, and it puts everybody in a good job, and we decide to run it for hundreds of years like that. And the
What
person
if
most
we
suited to being
just
a
chose
garbage
not to
man.
give over control of our society to a computer in the first place? How about
Well, we don't
that?
have enough. We don't have enough jobs for everyone, so the computer will be fair. Say, okay, well, you should be a garbage man. You should be a teacher. You should be a plumber. And
Prime
nobody's maintained this
directive?
computer.
That sounds like a rule we should have been following in this episode.
Nobody cares about prime directives.
Landrew cares.
I'm
You
gonna
have to obey
bust
Landrew.
you like I do the prime directive.
Have you watched Westworld, Ryan?
What?
Westworld on HBO.
No.
Okay. It kind of talks about the theme of AI ruling society, and at some point it can predict, like with 98% certainty, who's going to commit suicide by age 40, or et cetera, et cetera. It's going to
Logic
control a lot.
loops.
Computers like this, they act like regular humans with their projections, but as soon as you see the metal casing, they go all robotic.
Right.
Landrew would never use the words insufficient data.
I think, like, look, we didn't even have PCs back then, and here in 1967. So
No.
the idea that, like, computers would, like, we know very well how computers think and how much they don't think. So here we're thinking that they would be more like thinking machines, which is originally how computers were described as. Like, I remember.
How come nobody is stepping into the room with Landrew? I wonder, is there a limitation in the set that prevents them from being in there?
Yeah, maybe it's like it's a room where they broke the drywall, so you can't step in there and film.
Or maybe they just really like this framed center circular hole?
Like the Horta.
Don't hurt Landrew. He's being so mean to Landrew.
Well,
Couldn't we just, like, give it a software update? Reset it to factory defaults?
Well, they
Successful
fixed it
persuasion
later
check.
on for lower debt.
wow, that's so dramatic. It reminds me of the Jetsons when, like, you're completing commands to Rosie and, like, the eye sockets, the eyeballs come out of their sockets for the robot.
So, does Captain Kirk now have someone beam down to put up the tape and the do not obey sign? Or is that the lower decks crew that does that?
That was lower decks. We had the second contact cruise.
It's implied Landrew is also in the valley, so, like, they have to really go to every city and town in this planet and get rid of that local Landrew.
No, they just have one central Landrew.
Okay.
Landrew is Landrew.
All roads lead to Landrew.
We're off to see the wizard.
Now, this is one of many examples in TOS where the writers just kind of forgot what the plot was, because what they were doing was searching for the missing USS Archon. They never recover the crew.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The writers just forgot about the crew.
It was just the impetus to the plot.
I think it's understood like they became part of the body.
Yeah, but now the body is free. The Lander is
Right.
gone.
Yeah. Well, 50 minutes is up. That's the end of this week.
Couldn't be better. We found the crew. No. So these are, in fact, humans who have been on this planet for at least 6,000 years. How did they... What are the
Yeah.
canon implications? How did they get here? Yep, nope, no mention of them. They're gone.
A piece of the action.
There was another episode. Oh, it was the one where they find a society that's like moving super fast through time. And they talk about like, oh, maybe one day we'll come back with a cure. And then by the end of the episode, they discover a cure, they apply it to themselves, and then they leave.
I think they
never help the
choose not to
society.
give it. Yeah, they choose not to give it to them.
No, they don't choose. They never bring it up. The writers just forgot that was what they were trying to do in the first place.
We counted away team deaths. 1.
There were none. No deaths
Yeah,
today.
O'Neill, they found O'Neill.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
fine.
So
A
nice,
lot of
so
stick tapping.
nice.
One person did die, but he wasn't on the away team, so who cares?
Thank you, Randy.
Next week is some episodes which I did not remember.
You don't remember the con episode?
Oh no, yes, of course, Space Siege with Khan, yes.
So next week is Space Seed, it's Khan, and that the woman crew member who is the worst. There's A Taste of Armageddon, which is the one where Kirk's like, oh, you've made war so neat and clean, it's no longer a thing to be feared.
More AI.
Oh, it's the
control
one
of
with
society.
it's the AI stuff, and they fight and decide who dies based on what the computer says.
Yeah, and then This Side of Paradise, which is the planet where everyone gets really happy, and
Yeah.
Spock starts smiling and cheering,
Yep.
and it's weird.
Yes, now I remember them.
So yeah, that's next week. This week, however, is done. Go away.
Nice seeing you again, Michael.
Thanks. Good to be back. Now that you guys are done with Voyager and Enterprise.
Yeah.
Enterprise is great. It's such
What,
a
you
long
didn't like
road.
Voyager and Enterprise?
I'm harder on them than I actually feel. I just
Okay.
don't care for them all that much.
Okay, the stream's over.
Bye, everybody.
Yep, bye. Have a lovely.